We'll take a few more breaths and we'll start to move on to all fours. So on your next inhale, let's go ahead and open the eyes, and we'll bring the hands and the knees to the floor. All right. And from here, we're going to place the hands under the shoulders, knees under the hips. We'll begin with cat-cow, rounding the back from the very center of the spine, drawing navel in, tucking the hips, little external rotation of the shoulders, drawing the chin down, spreading the scapula wide. Inhaling and opening the chest, lifting the chin. And we're going to repeat those two positions. We'll exhale into cat, rounding the spine. Inhaling into cow, opening the chest, sliding the scapula down, away from the ears. Let's do that one more time. We're going to round on your exhale. Inhale, open the chest, still drawing navel to spine. And then we're moving slowly back into neutral. Great. From here, we're going to do a little threading of the needle. So I'm going to shift my hips to the left, reach my left arm up towards the sky, bringing that left ear, left shoulder down to the mat. So I've got a little space, like I'm trying to create a little more space between my ear and my shoulder. My core is connected, my abdomen, my hips are relaxed. That right arm can go around the back or stay as is. Excellent. Now as we hold the position, just breathing through any tight spaces that you might be running into in this position. Still connecting to those deep breaths. Full deep inhale and exhale. Perfect. Let's bring the right hand under the shoulder, push ourselves up, coming back onto all fours. And then we're going to take the right foot and press the ball of the foot into the mat and the heel pressing away from us. Let the head drop. We're going to go back into that external rotation of the shoulders so the elbow creases are moving forward. And we're going to push into the palms, spreading the scapula nice and wide, drawing the chin down so we feel a little stretch on the upper back along with the calf stretch in the lower limb. We'll hold for 3. Good deep breath, 2. Excellent. Let's come back to center. We're going to sweep the right foot forward. So we're going to be in a low lunge. Once we're in that position, the ankle right under the knee, fingertips or palms on the floor or blocks are handy here. I'm going to draw my right hip down, hollow the belly, and then try to pull my chest and belly away from my right thigh to create a little more space. And I'm just going to have my neck in a neutral position so there's no pressure in the head or neck. And we'll hold for 3 deep breaths here. Really get that nice expansive chest as much as you can in this position. Good, one more breath. Excellent. Let's go ahead and sweep the right foot back. So we're back onto all fours again. So we've got hands under the shoulders, knees under the hips. We're going to do 2 cat-cow. So we'll round and exhale. Going to use it to retune and realign to the breath. Inhale, open the chest, navel to spine. And one more. Exhale, rounding. Moving with your breathing. It might be a little different than mine. Inhaling, opening the chest. Perfect. We're going to come back to center, shift the hips to the right as we reach that Let me start over. We're going to shift the hips to the left, reach that right arm up, and then we're going right ear, right shoulder. So we're going to thread the needle, and that left hand can go around the back. Get breathing through any tight spaces. This might be a slightly tighter side due to most people being right-handed, so there might be a little more tightness around the scapula and the neck and shoulders. We'll hold for 3 more deep breaths. Perfect. We're going to bring that left hand under the shoulder, push ourselves back up onto all fours, this time pressing the left leg back, bringing the ball of the foot to the floor. We'll externally rotate the shoulders, tip the head down, push into the arms or into the hands, draw the belly away from the floor, spreading the scapula wide, the upper back. Drawing that heel back to stretch out the calf muscle in the back of the leg. Good. Full deep inhale and exhale. Good. And then from there, we're going to take that left foot forward. So we're in our low lunge position. Knee right over the ankle here. We're going to draw that left hip down, hollow the belly. Opening up the chest. Find that neutral head neck position. 3 deep breaths here. Good. Deep breath for 2. Now, this next position, we're going to keep it light. We're not going super tight. We're still just warming up, but I'm going to straighten my back leg and step it forward. So it's that maybe 2 to 3 foot stance. I'm also going to bring a block close by and place my hands on the floor in front of my foot. I'm going to bend into my left knee so it's not quite so tight. Let the head relax. Pull the belly up away from the floor. Now, without actually moving the feet, I want you to draw the heels together so you'll feel a little glute connection with that movement. And we're going to hold here for a few more breaths. Good full deep inhale and exhale. Good for 2. Now on your next breath, let's go ahead and bring the weight forward into the left leg. Step that right foot forward. Lift and lengthen through the spine, drawing the chest nice and open, turning the glutes and your abdomen on, quads on. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rising up, reaching the arms up overhead. Deep inhale, come up slow. That was a really deep fold we were in. And then we'll exhale and fold forward, bringing the hands back to the floor. Excellent. Lift and lengthen on your inhale. Now from here, we're going to step that left foot back. So we're going back into that shorter stance. And we've got our hands in front. We've got our right leg leading this time. Our head is down. We'll soften into the right leg. Draw the right hip slightly back and down. And then you're drawing the heels towards each other to make that glute activation position. And then we'll hold here. Deep breath. Relax any tension that you might be feeling in your upper body, especially around your eyes and jaw. Full deep breaths here. Excellent. Now from here, I'm going to remove the block and place it to the side. And then I'm bending into my left knee and I'm bringing that left knee down to the floor. And I still have that right heel under the knee. And I'm going to just add little shifts forward and back to kind of open up the hips. The arms and wrists are comfortable. We're going to draw that right hip slightly down so you're not feeling any hip or low back pressure. So we're trying to keep the hips really neutral here in this position. That left foot is pressing into the mat. So you've got a lot of stability there. And then we're going to start, as we go back and forth, I want you to push the knee a little out to the right so the inside arch of your right foot may lift up, or the big toe. So we're kind of making little circles, and we're doing a little external rotation with the right leg. And of course, keep that in a range that feels good for the hip. But we are going to do a little hip mobility in the class today. And we'll do one more. Great. And then we're going to take that right leg. We'll go ahead and bring that right knee down and sweep the left foot forward. So we've got our left leg leading the way this time. I'm going to place my right hand, adjacent with the left foot, and we're tipping forward and back. So we're just moving the hip. Notice if there's any tightness on one side, if it's a little more parallel or matching from right to left side, or if it's just one side in particular. And then you've got that core connection really supporting. Let's start to add a little external rotation. So we're circling the leg back and forth and a little bit to the side, kind of drawing a circle with the knee. And kind of taking notes as to how the body is responding to the movement. Good. We'll do one or two more circles. And then we'll come back to center. Go ahead and sweep that left leg back one more time. We're on both knees. I'm going to go wide with my knees, big toes to touch, sinking the hips, coming into child's pose. Bringing the forehead to the mat. Really allowing to rest right there at the brow, right between the eyes or between the eyebrows. And now we're focusing on those deep breathing, and notice if there's any resistance in the hips. So we're just going to try to let the hips release and sink towards the floor, of course within reason. Make sure your knees are taken care of. Full deep inhale and exhale. Now, as we breathe in this child's pose, I want you to take a deep inhale through the nose. You're going to open the mouth and forcefully exhale, nice and long. Exhale as if you're removing any tension in the body, whether that's mental or physical tension. And we're going to extend the exhale a little bit longer than we do the inhale. So we'll take a deep inhale through the nose. Open the mouth, exhale. Deep inhale and exhale. We'll come into more of a normal inhale and exhale through the nose if possible. Still releasing and relaxing any tension. Shoulders nice and relaxed. We'll hold for just a few more breaths. Excellent. So we're going to come up just enough. I'm going to bring my hands a little closer to my body, lift my hips, keep my knees on the mat. I'm going to actually slowly, and you have to tuck your hips a little bit when you do this. You're going to tuck the hips and then bring the hips to the floor and then the chest and chin. So we're going to reverse that child's pose a little bit. When we go back into child's pose, make sure your hands are under your shoulders to start. Push into the knees, hollow the belly, push into the arms. We're going to stay a little more neutral as we lift up. And then we're shifting our hips back to the heels in child's pose. So that forehead comes back down to the floor. So as we kind of move from pose to pose, kind of finding that mobility in the chest and back, really the whole, while we're manipulating the spine, we're really protecting the low back, which is the, more open part of the back, and of course a little more, it's a little easier to injure the low back. So we're going to really take care of that area. Deep inhale, we're going to raise back up. Hands are pretty much under the shoulders. We're going to tip forward, start to tuck the hips, press the pelvis down, and then slowly lower like you're kind of doing a push-up with bad form because we got the hips coming down first. All right, we're going to readjust our arms, push into the knees, hollow the belly, push off from the floor, come back into your child's pose. You're going to do that one more time. Shifting the hips back, bringing the forehead to the mat, child's pose. Good. Now on your next breath, we're going to lift back up, tuck the hips, deep inhale, hips touch the floor, then the belly button, then the chest coming down. Good. We'll bring the head to the floor, relax the arms. We're going to walk the arms a little bit closer underneath the shoulders. Prepare to push off, pushing back into that child's pose position. This will be our last child's pose. Good. Deep breath, just kind of waking up the body. Good. Full deep inhale and exhale. Excellent. So I'm going to come back up to a seat. And from here, we're going to move into a forward bend. So we're go ahead and extend the feet forward, flexing the feet, contracting the front of the legs. I'm going to take a deep inhale, reaching the arms up, folding over the legs. Exhale. Start to come into a forward bend. And we'll keep the contraction of the legs. This is an interesting pose because some people have back pain because they have a very tight back, others because it's overstretched. And so unless you know which one yours is, if it is either, it's good to keep the back flat or neutral. So you've got your navel in, you're folding forward, and that really keeps the fold more in the legs. Now, if you know, and it's okay to fold into your forward fold and round, keeping that core connection, of course, you're going to feel a little more of a back stretch there. And that may be perfectly fine, if not great, for your body, but it isn't great for everyone. So kind of find what works for you in your forward fold, because we'll do a few folds besides this one. So on your inhale, we're going to rise back up, keep that core activation. So you've really got that navel there protecting the low back. We're going to bring one foot into the hip crease. So I will do my left leg first, and we're going to lengthen through the spine, sitting up nice and tall, and then exhale and fold over the right leg. So we're back into that position where we have to decide how we're going to fold into this forward bend. So we've got navel to spine. Is it coming through a really straight, neutral spine? Tip forward, or are we rounding more into the posture? And we'll hold here. Full deep inhale, full exhale. Now, I'm going to add a little flair to this. Best to do it with a flat spine. So I'm taking my left arm, crossing my right foot or shin, and then just folding into that. So you'll feel a little more stretch along the left side of the torso. Get a full breath. Good. And then we'll go ahead and release. Sitting up nice and tall, we're going to go ahead and extend the other leg. Pull the right foot into the hip crease. Starting sitting up nice and tall so you can feel that abdominal connection, and then we'll fold forward. And you might find the hip stretch is going to be a little deeper with the back neutral rather than rounded. And we're keeping that left leg nice and contracted. So we're getting a nice even hamstring stretch along the left leg. I'm going to add my right arm going across the left leg for a little more torso lengthening along my right side. Good. And check in on the breathing. How is that breathing going? Full deep inhales. Really allowing the lungs to fill up. Excellent. So let's go ahead and release. So from here, I'm going to sweep my legs off to the side. So kind of like that little mermaid. Not quite a 90-90. The feet will be the legs will be a little comfortably set to the side. And then either going on your hand or your forearm. So you're going to tip to the side. Keep the underbelly of the torso nice and long. We're going to reach the arm that's up towards the sky, reach it up and over. Once we do that, we're going to draw our shoulders into our body, away from the ears, and start to round the torso up towards the sky, working to stretch the serratus anterior and all of the muscles in the back, and of course the obliques as well. We'll hold for a few breaths here. Good. We're going to come back to neutral. Go ahead and sit up, and you can use that hand that you're kind of propped up on. We're going to go an opposite, just kind of an opposing side stretch. As we place that hand on the floor, we're going to keep it nice and soft, let that shoulder release down and up, and then we're really lengthening the opposite side here, kind of in those same areas. But this time, we can really press our sit bone into the ground, or our hips into the ground, so we're really feeling maybe even a deeper stretch on this side. But it might just feel different, so whatever feels nice. Okay, and then we'll come back to center. Let's go ahead and flop our feet over to the other side. So we've got that mermaid 90-90 kind of position. I'm going to drop down onto my forearm, make sure the shoulder and the hip are nice and lined up. We're nice and long on that side closest to the floor. We're going to reach the arm closest to the ceiling up and over and start to round the torso up. So we are pushing our forearm into the mat so we can get a deeper side bend here. Good. Letting the shoulders kind of release a little bit, even though we are using them. Our abdominal connection is solid, supporting us, and then we'll come back to center. So we'll sit up. We're going to counterbalance that with the side stretch going in the opposite direction, reaching the other arm up and over, and then really planting those hips into the mat, or at least one of the hips, and lengthen that side. Good. And then we're going to come back to center. Perfect. All right, roll the shoulders out a little bit. We're going to bring the legs forward into Baddha Konasana. So we'll bring the feet together, find a comfortable place. You can kind of play with how far or how close the legs come into the hips. And we'll find that position, lengthen through the spine, and then begin to fold forward over the legs. So we'll draw the chest down. Same thing with the folding forward. Are we looking to round or fold in more of a straight line? That straight line will provide a little more hip opening typically. And we're breathing through those tight spaces that you are running into. We'll take a couple more breaths here. Alrighty, we're going to do one for the quads and the hips. And this is where a block or a bolster or the back of your heels can come in handy. So if you don't have a block or a bolster, you're going to bring your legs together and sit on your heels. And that's a great way to do it. If you need a little more elevation, or if you happen to have a block or a bolster handy, you can sit on the block. And here's the thing, if your butt can sit between the tops of your feet, so if your butt's literally sliding through the heels and it makes it all the way to the floor, then you really don't need anything. You don't need to sit on your heels, you don't need to sit on a block unless you're feeling knee tension. So this is not a knee stretch. We definitely don't want to feel any knee tightness or tension in this position. So we're going to start sitting up nice and tall. We'll take a few breaths here. Reconnect to the core. We definitely need it in this pose because we have to articulate the spine just right to not go into our low back. So as we start to walk our hands behind us, I'm going to tuck my hips, and that is, it's like we're trying to tuck, and in doing so, it allows us to stay more neutral in the pelvis. So it's a small tuck. We're going to find that tucking action. We'll walk our hands or forearms back. You may be able to go a little bit further than what I'm doing. And then if the chest is lifting, you can tip the head up. If there's any neck tension, you're going to keep that chin tucked into the chest. So you'll notice if you release the tuck, you might find the stretch goes away. So you're tucking and you're feeling your quadriceps and your hips opening up, hopefully. And we're going to hold here for 5. So full deep inhale and exhale. Good deep breath, 4. Good 3. Good 2. Now with that core connection, and consider the tucking until we get out of the back. We're coming back up to a seat, and then I'm going to remove the block I was sitting on. I'm going to bring my left foot forward again. This time, though, we're going to add a deeper stretch for the hip and the thigh. So if you need a little extra knee support, place something under that knee. I'm going to be a little more upright. Again, because we are going down deeper into the hip, you may have to scoop your hips under and tuck to stay neutral in this position. And then, of course, the hands can come down to the floor or stay more upright. And we're working to just go a little deeper into the hip. That right foot is pressing into the mat, so you feel the muscle connection of the pose along with the muscle connection that's just supporting you and the joints as we go a little deeper. And we'll hold for one more breath. Excellent. Let's come on out. We're going to shift that left leg back and switch to the other side. So we've got our left foot forward. We're going to be a little more neutral, and we're going to scoop the hips under, prepare for that low lunge. Hands used as needed to support the legs, especially if you're feeling tired and you're having a harder time articulating the pose. You're just listening to your body, and the body will give you those cues that you need as to whether to lay off or add a little bit more. We're going to hold for 4. Full deep inhale. Good 3. Good 2. And release. Okay. All right, we're going to come back down to a seat and focus a little bit on our outer glutes. So we've got our legs in the cross leg position. I'm going to take my right foot and place it on top of the left. And so cross legs is great. If you stack heel to knee, and if there's any pain in the knee, I want you to go back to cross legs. And it's very typical to have one knee popping up, so it does not mean anything's wrong. If you have space between the knee and the foot, you can either place a block or a blanket there to support the knee if you need to. It's there if you need it. All right, and then I want you to flex the feet a little bit and press down with both feet. So it just kind of keeps those knees in a supportive way. Make sure there's no pressure there. We're going to lengthen through the spine. Again, we've got that neutral spine. To ease into the pose, you can round, but to go a little deeper to the outer glutes, we're going to stay neutral spine and start to fold forward. We'll keep the head and neck neutral. And then we'll breathe into any of those tight spaces that we're running into. Full deep inhale and exhale. Good. And then we'll come back up. All right, let's switch sides. So we're going to go ahead and bring the opposite leg on top, either cross legs or more in that fire log position. Stacking heel on top of the knee. We've got flexed feet. The feet are pressing down. We're going to lengthen through the spine. Exhale, folding forward. Excellent. All righty. We're going to sit back up, shake the legs out. All righty. We're going to do that same position, but we're going to do it laying on our back. So we'll go ahead and, well, it's not the exact same position, but one that is targeting the same area. So I'm going to lay my head down onto the mat. Let my hips settle for a moment. Let those shoulders draw back, chest nice and open, belly feels nice and connected and neutral, or the spine rather. And then I'm going to take my right leg and cross over my left leg. Now, if the knees don't cross over, you're going to look like you're in more of a number 4 stretch where you've got your right ankle pressing against your left thigh. okay? And otherwise, you're going to lift your legs up and you're going to have those crossed leg position. Now flex the feet and you're going to grab hold of the feet with your hands. Now, if this is a tight spot, you can pull the heels towards your glutes. If you have a little more space to play, or if you're a little more warm and mobile, you're going to bring the feet a little more like you're drawing a line from across your shins. So your feet will kind of be in that line, and then you're going to draw down. I hope that made sense because it felt a little weird, the instructions there. And we're going to hold for 5. Good deep breath, 4. Good, 3, 2, and 1. Excellent. Let's go ahead and bring the feet back to the floor, shaking the legs out. We're preparing for either the number 4 stretch or you're crossing left leg over right. Grabbing the feet if you're in the crossed leg position. And of course, if you can line the shins up, do that. We're going to find that position. Make sure the waistline is on the mat. And we're going to hold here. Could be rather intense. And release. So we're trying to get kind of our major muscle groups, lengthened on the floor here. So we've done most of the leg and hips, glutes, outer glutes, and now we've done the serratus obliques. We've done the back as well. So now we're going to focus on the abdomen and chest. So we're going to roll onto the belly and we're going to start in our Sphinx pose. So we'll go forearm under the shoulders. And if that's too high, like I have really long arms, so that's pretty high. That's a big chest extension. You can always draw your elbows out further so that you're a little closer to the ground. So you just want to make sure you're not feeling that in your low back. So the trick is to pull the navel up away from the floor. You're still trying to tuck a little bit. That tucking will help keep more of a neutral position in the lower back as we try to bring more openness and expansiveness into our middle and upper back. All right, so we've got our pelvis pressing down, our navel lifting up, our scapula drawing down, and almost as if we're sliding our chest through our arms. We're going to be really trying to get our chest to move forward towards the wall in front of us. We're going to hold here, deep breath. Now from here, we're going to go ahead and fold down, bringing the forehead onto the hands, relaxing the spine. And then just take note, was that just right? How does your back feel after that chest extension? If it felt a little tight, or if it felt just right, stay there. If you felt like you had a little more mobility to go, we'll add into a little cobra pose. But this one's really, very personal because only you can feel what this feels like in your body. So I'm going to go ahead and bring those elbows back under the shoulders, hollow the belly, press the pelvis into the mat, draw the scapula down, chest forward. Now on your inhale, so we're starting with our elbows under the shoulders, you're going to press into your palms and maybe straighten the arms. You don't have to straighten the elbows all the way. It may be a little bent. And we'll go into a variation of cobra pose. Keep lifting the chest. Really feel the musculature of that not sinking and relaxing into the joints. Okay, and then we're going to come on down. And then we're taking it all the way down to the floor, forehead in the hands. Let the body release and relax. Hopefully even helping open up the front of the hips. We do so much sitting, so hopefully we're just kind of slowly pulling some space on the front side of the body there. Excellent. Okay, I'm going to bring my hands under my shoulders, push back into child's pose. Let the back lengthen and stretch after all that. Excellent. So we are now preparing to lay on our backs. So we're going to come on down. We're going to do some last minute back health and lengthening. Okay. So we'll let the arms rest by our side, extending that left leg down the mat. Pelvis staying nice and neutral. We're going to tip our right knee out to the right. Relaxing the arms. More of a passive stretch. Excellent. Let's go ahead and move it to the other side. So we'll lift that right leg, slide it down the mat. And now we're turning our left leg out to the side. Okay, we're going to prepare for either a meditation or a shavasana or a combo. I guess we'll do a little yoga nidra. So we're going to find a comfortable place to lay. You can always do it seated though. And just make sure, however you lay, that you do feel supported from head to toe and you're able to fully relax the body. I've got a little rolled up blanket under my neck to support my head. And as we start to get comfortable, focusing on deep breaths, redirecting the mind to the breathing if it goes somewhere else. As you exhale, you're going to release all the tension around your eyes and jaw. The back of the head and neck. Shoulders, chest, abdomen, hips, the right arm and hand, left arm and hand, upper back, middle back, lower back, the glutes, right leg and foot, left leg and foot,